Hey guys, going to take the Spyder out for a little ride today. Let's enjoy the mild weather in between snowstorms. And the goal of today's trip is primarily to test out the intercom system, test the recording system, and make sure we can actually put it together in the editing suite and produce quality video with all the audio. And we're going to take the Spyder out to some back roads and go to a section of Back Bay that we've not been to. Also discuss a little bit about the trip and how we just received information that courtesy of the United States federal courts, it may impact the trip, if not actually cause us to have to cancel the trip. So that and a little bit more on today's ride. Turn your head down.
I haven't turned it on.
Okay, well that's why you don't have it. That's why I don't see a blue light.
What were you checking?
Well, turn it on and test it so I can see your blue light.
It's not.
It takes a few seconds.
It just told me it's on.
Well, it's not recording. There we go. Now it's recording. All right. Okay. All this configuration. A lot easier to get in the car, isn't it? Not nearly as much fun. Oh, I did have a chance to look at a YouTube video on the national parks for 2022, and Yosemite, and I couldn't see anything about Sequoia, is not going to have a reservation system requirement.
Oh, well that's good news.
Glacier is, and they're getting tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy at Glacier.
Yeah. It was a 7-day pass. I think they're now reducing it to a 3-day pass.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have less than half a tank of gas. I think we should make it to where we're going today. We're just out sightseeing, enjoying the warmer weather for January. I have a habit of getting behind my computer and not coming out for a couple of days, and it just feels good to get outside.
Yeah.
Miriam made me go for a walk yesterday. We covered a couple of miles because we know we have to really get our condition, stamina up for this coming trip. In case you're new to the channel, we are looking at a road trip across the United States of about 2 months in duration, 7,000 miles round trip from our home here on the East Coast to the West Coast. And although I have made the trip across country many times, I have never driven from the East Coast directly to the West Coast. It's always been bits and pieces, like a jigsaw puzzle. So I'm looking forward to actually going in one odyssey all the way across. Well, I see a lot of other people are enjoying the moderate temperatures. They're out on their motorcycles and such.
Years ago today, I was in the thralls of labor with Katie.
Yep.
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe. It's hard to believe she's 30 years old today. And Katie is Miriam's daughter. She is a school teacher by trade. Works with disabled children. And her specialty is English as a second language.
I don't think disabled children is a proper term. It's
disabilities?
No, it's kids with disabilities.
Special needs?
But when you label someone as disabled,
I know, I don't like that
you're
label.
emphasizing the dis rather than the able.
Yep.
So what were you doing 30 years ago?
What year was that?
1992.
1992. I was a young detective, loving life, single guy, flying my airplanes, doing search and rescue with the Civil Air Patrol. Yeah, life was good. I had no idea we would meet.
I wasn't thinking about it either 30 years ago.
You know, somebody told me 30 years from now you would not be flying airplanes, you'll be riding a three-wheel motorcycle around. And I said, you on cheap drugs. Here we are. So much construction. So all we seem to do around here is build stuff.
Yep, and then tear it down.
400 square miles. Big city. What's our population now? 400,000? 450,000. And the 5 cities together, which is Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk, Hampton, Newport News. Together they're about 1.5, 1.6 million. A lot of people. And then we're still getting used to having these intercoms because I'm still wanting to, every time I want to say something to Miriam, I want to turn my head and go, "Hey, Miriam!" You know, now that the holidays have settled down and we're now in the countdown phase of our trip, I have never taken a trip that is 2 months long, so it's a little intimidating to think you're going to be gone from home for that long, and making sure you've anticipated every possible contingency for the trip and at home, and you have a strategy to deal with everything. I mean, if we forgot something, we could always pick it up along the way. It's not like we're going to the moon where you're pretty much stuck with what you bring. But once we leave home, we can't go back and check, did I turn that stove off? No, it's once you're gone, you're gone. Uh-oh, somebody's got getting some firewood.
Wow, it's a lot of firewood.
Yeah.
You can smell it, smell the pine. One of the things I love about being on the bike is the sensory experience. You smell so much more than you would otherwise.
Well, if you're in a car, you're watching it go by, and if you're on a 3-wheeled or 2-wheel machine, you're out in the open. You're part of it.
You're in it.
You're in it. And the reoccurring question comes up, what do you do if it rains? Well, you get wet. And that people just look at you like, what? You get wet? It's hard to believe that we've become as soft as a society. Our destination today is I can't recall the name of it, but I'll tell you here in a minute when we get there. There's appears to be part of the National Wildlife Refuge that is on the end of a dead-end road, where it connects with the sound, and lived here all my life and never been there, and it's not even 10 miles away. But Blue Pete's, great restaurant. And I checked the tide schedule before we left. We're at about high tide, and our roads are subject to flooding, but the direction of the winds should blow the water away, but it may blow it in, but we'll see. Plus, we've had a lot of rain here in the last few weeks. Oop. It's our turn. Yeah. Yep. Now it has fresh asphalt. Yeah, just keep an eye on it, make sure. At least the tide is going out, so it's not like it's going to rise and strand us. Never been down this road before. We tried to make it a couple of weeks ago, and they were paving it, and it was just, well, it was more trouble than it was worth to get through the construction. Well, I guess we're not going any further. Well, according to Google Maps, this gate wasn't here. See what it says.
Oh, November to March closed.
Well, I guess we'll never find out what's over there.
Migratory birds. Or honey,
yeah.
Controlled honey.
Yeah. Well.
Can we follow the road further, see where it leads to? Oh.
It's a dead end.
Are we at the dead end? Oh, gotcha.
Well, there's a house over there, and that's the dead end.
The dog doesn't know what to think of us. Is it a Bichon?
Looks like it. Looks like it. It's a big one.
Oh, pretty view. Yeah.
You know, we should go back and just look at the view.
It's
well,
a private residence, though. Let's just go on. At least we can say we've been down, what is it, Horn Point Road?
Yeah, and almost made it to Horn Point. There's always interesting stories behind road names. There's a road up in the north end of the city called Pleasure House Road, and you can use your imagination and it would be accurate. Back in the day, there was a pleasure house up there.
That house has seen better days.
Yeah. Yeah. We plan on shooting a lot of content on this trip, as you can imagine. A lot of content. In fact, I had to get a new laptop just for to deal with all the content. Store everything on a new portable hard drive, but not yet ordered. But the videos will be coming out on average once a week. So the videos will be lagging significantly behind. But our Facebook page, it should be updated. Typically no more than 24 to 48 hours behind us. But if we're going to be somewhere, we'll definitely post it. So I'm just anxious to get some more drone footage. Oh, let's see. Dead deer. Lots of dead deer. More drone footage. You know, we live in an area that is heavily populated by military bases and airports and wildlife refuges, and you can't fly a drone in those places. And I've watched other folks on YouTube who do, but not only did I get my 107 drone certification, which could be a risk if I violate federal aviation regulations, I actually hold a pilot's license. Now, I may never use it again, but it took me an awful lot of effort to get it, and I don't want to lose it because I'm flying a drone someplace I shouldn't ought to be. Not only that, it could be a really, really bad day if my drone got sucked into the intake of an F-18 fighter. And, well, that's about $1 million. So, just for the engine, I don't want that bill. So I know when we're out on the other side of the Mississippi, be a lot of open ground. a lot of opportunities to get some drone shots. Looking forward to that. There's no shoulder on these roads back here, and if your right wheel strays across that white line, you're going down in that muck on the right hand side. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a buffer. And if things weren't interesting enough in preparation for the upcoming spring trip, I get a notice in the mail a few weeks ago that I have been randomly selected for jury duty for the calendar year of 2022, and I may or may not receive a subpoena to actually appear for jury duty. It's like, oh great. But the good news is, I've checked the protocols, and as long as we have reservations, and we do, along the trip, that the court will excuse me from that. And then we thought we had that problem solved, and then Miriam is notified that there was a HR-related event that she may have to be involved in federal court, just as a witness, because she oversaw the process. And may have to try to dodge a subpoena for her to go to court, federal court. So, but she'd be a witness. Changes the complexion a little bit. So, yeah, just some added suspense for the trip.
Well guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's video. Just an update on our court situation. I have not yet been subpoenaed for the federal courts. I just received notice that I was on the list to be subpoenaed. And so my situation remains to be seen. Miriam recently learned that her court appearance should be required slam in the middle of the time we should be in New Mexico. The city attorney said, no worries, you should be able to just do a remote testimony on cell phone. And Miriam said, that's going to be tricky in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico. I guess we can pull over next to a cactus. So we're working through that problem. We'll keep you updated. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and give us the thumbs up. We appreciate you watching. Take care.